So right now I'm kind of scrubbing through the timeline, and I kind of like this shot. I'm gonna really make a few thumbnails to see which one fits the vibe the best. So gonna just put an in and out point, go to media, export, set the settings to JPEG, export it at full res. And as you know, like obviously the thumbnail says what the whole video is about. So the reason I'm gonna do a handful of thumbnails is because I wanna actually upload the thumbnail or edit all the thumbnails and see how it looks on the top of the video itself to know if it's giving off the right impression to the viewer or to the audience. So I'm also gonna pull one that's not real estate. Let's see. I like this shot, and it's definitely a big point in the actual reel. So I'm gonna pull up the right frame, hit an in and out point, go to export, our second thumbnail, export that. And I really like the fire sequence. I think it's totally unique and really stands out as a creative and kind of powerful image. So I'm gonna in and out point, same thing, number 3, export this thumbnail. Let's see. I also really like this shot. It has super cool, a lot of like action and movement in it, which I love that look. So number 4, gonna send it out. Perfect. So now what we're gonna do is bring these bad boys into Lightroom. Now I also have some other photos from previous projects, some behind the scenes stuff that I'm also gonna throw into Lightroom to see, since it's a personal demo reel, you know, you can have a behind the scenes photo of you doing your production thing, whatever you want. So it's really a good idea and kind of an extra side tip to bring on behind the scenes photographers or people shooting photos while you're doing video. So let's bring these puppies into Lightroom. Import. Perfect. So let's start with this fire one. I love this shot. Super cool, super eye-catching, and you know, it has a certain level of intrigue. You know, you're gonna want to click this video when you see this thumbnail. Gonna bring down the shadows a little bit, contrast it out. Perfect. And this one, I think that this was already previously edited, so I'm not gonna do much to it. Bring up the sharpness, smooth it out a little bit, add a little bit of clarity, a little bit of, too much saturation. Gonna bring down the blue a little bit. Good, now we're gonna move on to the real estate shot. Bring up the clarity, bring up the shadows, bring up the contrast, a little bit of saturation. Sharpen it up. Smooth it out, little noise reduction, and obviously some vignetting. This helps to really guide the eye. So for this one, gonna definitely bring up the contrast, the clarity, bring down the highlights to kind of bring in some more of those overexposed whites, change the tint of the blue to a little bit more of a teal, and bring up a ton of that noise reduction because it's a pretty grainy shot to begin with. And drop down the vignette. Now for this fire shot, definitely gonna bring up the clarity, bring up the shadows a little bit, actually bring down the shadows and make those reds a little bit redder. Bring up the sharpness, noise reduction. That's looking pretty good. And obviously bring some vignette in there. Always sets the picture off. Now for this next one, bring up the sharpness. I'm gonna need tons of noise reduction on this one because it's pretty pixelated and it's pretty grainy to begin with. Bring up the clarity a little bit, add some contrast, a little vignette, and some saturation. I love changing the tint of the blues to more of that teal look. Perfect. Gonna export these guys. make a new folder in the thumbnails folder, called it edits, so it's all organized. Export. And I think I'm gonna go with, let's see. I really like this fire shot. I think I gotta do it. Drag that into Vimeo. Hit save. And there you go, your amazing demo reel with an awesome thumbnail on Vimeo and ready for your clients to see.